Lord passionately. I felt a connection with her immediately, especially since we had two very important things in common: a passion and love for Jesus Christ and shoes. Then Bobby Brunzel, an employee and member of Menlo Park Presbyterian Church in Menlo Park, California, sent me 3 tapes of Condoleezza talking to that church's congregation. One of the tapes specifically talked about the struggle she went through after the loss of her parents, John and Angelina Rice. In the middle of that first tape, I heard Condoleezza say, "It is a privilege to struggle." I stopped the tape. Did I just hear her say it was a privilege to struggle? I thought to myself. I rewound the tape and listened to it again. Yes, I answered myself. She said it's a privilege to struggle. I was mortified. I shook my head back and forth in disagreement. This woman is instrumental in running our country, I thought, and she's crazy. As I listened and re-listened to her story, my heart softened. Although I didn't understand why, what she was saying made sense and began slowly descending into my heart. Looking back, I can see that it was the beginning of a new chapter in my walk with God. Shortly after writing Condoleezza's story, I was faced with what appeared to be an insurmountable situation in my own life. It involved my then 18-year-old son, Paul. Paul is mentally ill and has been tormented with schizophrenia for most of his life. As a mother, it has been devastating to me to watch this talented young man mentally deteriorate over the years. Over a 10-year period of time, he has gone from being a genius, literally 184 IQ, to having, in many ways, the mentality of an 8-year-old. To make matters worse, he is plagued every moment of every day by auditory and visual hallucinations. Can you imagine never having peace and quiet? Never having the ability to distinguish between reality and delusions? As a mother, I have rarely felt so helpless. While medication has at times helped Paul's hallucinations diminish, they have never disappeared entirely. As a result, Paul vacillates between suicidal and homicidal inclinations and what appears to be a meditative trance and excessive writing what the voices are telling him in a screenplay format. Unfortunately, these voices mislead him to say and do inappropriate things that jeopardize his safety and the safety of others. Shortly after his 18th birthday, Paul had a psychotic break and lost all concept of what little reality he was clinging to. One day he just woke up, dressed himself in a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, and left our home in Colorado without saying a word to anyone. I was devastated, to say the least, aware of his fragile state of mind and fearing the worst. I turned my anger and agony on God. Not only did I bathe in fear and sorrow, I swam laps in it, assuring that I remained drenched in pain 24 hours a day. The problem wasn't the situation itself, because as a believer I could rely on God to comfort me during this time, if I so choose. The problem was that I'm a control freak, and I had no control of the pain and fear I was experiencing, nor did I have control of my son's whereabouts. Suddenly, the rubber hit the road in my spiritual walk with God. I knew His Word inside and out, but would I use it in this dire strait of mind? Raised in a dysfunctional home where sex abuse and physical abuse were the norm, I learned to believe the lie that if I could control the circumstances around me, I could protect myself from all aspects of suffering. Although that wasn't really the case, I spent a great deal of energy trying to manipulate situations and those around me as a survival mechanism in order to minimize the pain I experienced in life. One way I did this was by avoiding intimacy at all costs with everyone, including God. Don't get me wrong, I loved the Lord and spent a great deal of time with Him every day, but I always kept Him and other important people in my life at arm's length, believing this would increase my odds of avoiding pain. I called the police, put out a missing persons report on Paul, and put all of his friends and our family on alert in case they miraculously heard from him. I went online and put my son on every prayer list I could find. Then I had to wait in agonizing and relentless pain every day, one after the other. For hours and hours each day I would wonder, is Paul dead or alive? Will he be able to grasp enough reality to remember who he is, where he's from, how to get home?